Oh, yes, it's Thursday, and you know what the best thing is about Thursday? Our guest on A Chat with Pat is always Joanie Watson, and we are so excited to have her with us. It is Thursday, and remember, Joanie is an author and a speaker, and we are so excited because we have been doing a series with her on her new book, Making a Pilgrimage a Companion for Catholics, and it is published through, oh gosh, I don't have it in front of Emmaus Road. There it is, Emmaus Road. Joanie, how you doing today?
I am great. I'm great, Pat. It's always good to talk to you.
I know. I always enjoy this. So last week, we were on chapter 6 of your book about how to go. And we spent quite a bit of time, which I wanted to do, on that whole thing about, how pilgrimages in the good old days are a lot different than they are now. And so, what was that all about? What was the difference between a pilgrimage and a vacation and a tourist? But I want to get into the preparation piece of this. And you kind of set out right at the get-go that a pilgrimage is always as much about the disposition of a pilgrim as it is the destination. And so when we're trying to prepare for a pilgrimage, what sets that apart from just preparing for a vacation?
Yeah, so, we have to do some of the same things, right? We have to maybe, make travel plans and pack our suitcase. I'm actually about to head out on pilgrimage, and I have not started to pack my suitcase. So we have to, do the things that we normally would do for a trip. But I think so often we focus on those things and forget the spiritual preparation or the mental preparation. And so preparing ourselves, maybe, praying in a special way, maybe doing a novena ahead of time, or praying in a special way that God will open our hearts, or will, that we can be open to what he wants to do for us. I mentioned several different ideas in the book that we can talk about, but I think the most important thing is just like allowing your heart to enter into that disposition of pilgrimage and asking the Lord for his help. And maybe that means preparing intellectually, like, looking into, okay, where am I going on pilgrimage?
Yeah.
If I'm going to a place that surrounds a saint or a Marian apparition, do I know what I'm about to see?
Right.
And we don't have to become experts on any of it, but how am I preparing my mind and heart, not just my suitcase?
Yeah. And do you find, because you've done pilgrimages, and so do you find that when you take the time to either know where, okay, these are my stops on the pilgrimage, and so I want to focus on what actually happened there, or maybe read scripture, if certainly if you're in the Holy Land, read scripture about this place. Are those the kinds of things that you have found helpful to you in your spiritual preparation for a pilgrimage?
Absolutely. I think it's a little both and, because somebody can be super prepared and, know exactly what they want to see, when they want to see it, know, the ins and outs, and then their plans get changed and they can have a hard time letting go of those plans. But I think the person who spiritually prepares by knowing even just a little bit about what they're about to see is going to be able to receive what is otherwise, it's going to be overwhelming. I always find that on trips, especially if you're seeing a lot, if you're going a lot of places, if the Holy Land especially, I think it's just so overwhelming that the more you can do ahead of time and kind of have that baseline knowledge of, okay, where are we going what day? And maybe, we're going to Nazareth and Cana today, so, maybe I should reread the Gospels on the way, on the plane ride over. But just that, like, to have that kind of balance of being able to let go, because sometimes we prepare so much that we're afraid to let go of our plans, and I talk about being open to the God of surprises in this chapter too. Yeah. But definitely the person who's read something, right? Like, one of my favorite places to go in Rome is San Andrea della Frate, which is where Maximilian Kolbe said his first Mass.
Oh.
If I know nothing about St. Maximilian Kolbe, I'm walking in there, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. It's also the site of a Marian apparition that I talk about in the book. Alphonse Ratisbonne had a Marian apparition there. If I know nothing, I can learn it on the spot. But if my heart's prepared, I'm super excited to see that place and pray in that space.
Yeah.
And so I think there's this balance of preparation.
Well, Joanie, you talk in this chapter too about preparing our souls, and one of the ways to do that is gather intentions. Can you give us an idea of what you're talking about there?
Yeah, so I think one of the beautiful things about pilgrimage is that we can take people with us on pilgrimage spiritually. You know, you probably have a long list of intentions you're taking on pilgrimage, but I love asking people for their own intentions and then taking those with me and praying. You know, I mentioned I'm about to leave for Rome, and I'm going to go to the Church of St. Joseph, and there's a woman who asked me to pray for her son who's looking for a job, and I said, yes, and I will pray for him at this, you know, the Church of St. Joseph in Rome, which is a rarely visited church.
Yeah, I've
and
never
so
heard
just
of it.
being able to take people with you. Maybe you're writing those all down. Maybe you have a little book. Or maybe, you know, you're just keeping a little note on your phone and then remembering those people throughout the journey. When we take young people on pilgrimage to like World Youth Day, a lot of times we encourage them to pray for their donors and their benefactors and then send postcards back and say, I prayed for you in this place.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So just taking people with you on pilgrimage is really, really important spiritually.
Oh, I love those ideas. Those are great. So, and you kind of end this book or this chapter talking about the God of surprises, right? And you said that's probably the most delicate balances on pilgrimage is between preparation and expectation. And I have another question to go with that. I want you to address that. What's that balance we've got to keep? But because you make mention about plans being changed, does that happen a lot on pilgrimages that plans get changed at the last minute?
Yeah.
I haven't done a lot of them, Joanie, so I'm a rookie here.
So I think it depends, right? If you're on pilgrimage, you know, maybe you're taking a local pilgrimage to your local cathedral, and that's a beautiful practice, right? So it depends probably what culture you're dealing with and how the expanse of your pilgrimage.
Okay.
But usually when traveling overseas, something's going to change, right?
Okay.
The Italians love to close things without notice, to go on strike. I remember at the Holy Land, it was a major Jewish high holy day, and so everything was closed. You know, there's going to be things that just kind of, change our plans. And so it's important to be prepared and to know what we're about to go see and do, because especially in Rome, if you don't know what you're about to go see, you're going to miss it because things aren't labeled, and you have to kind of know, where am I going? Why am I going? But then to be able to be open to the Lord, who might change. Like, something might happen, and the Lord's going to say, okay, I have something better in store for you. And just to be open to that surprise and not be too upset when your plans change.
I think that's a big struggle for a lot of people, is you do all of this work and you expect to do this, this, and this, and then it doesn't happen, and then you're upset, and then you lose the whole spirit of why you're there in the first place. So I think,
and it's okay to be upset, right? Yeah. Like, that's a natural emotion, but then what do I do with it? How do I process it? How do I work through it? And, how do I receive it as a penance and a sacrifice, and then say, okay, Lord, give me something to make up for it, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I love that you talk about that. You say, this trip is yours, God. That's kind of how I approach each day.
Yeah.
So,
sometimes it's a gift and sometimes it's a threat, I think.
I love it, Joanie. Well, we are already out of time, so blessings on more pilgrimages that you have coming up, and we'll continue with Chapter 7 for the following week. Take care.
Sounds great, Pat. Thanks.
Bye-bye.